everybody, it's Franny.
And this is Heidi.
And we were thinking, since it's getting kind of close to holiday time, that we would put together a spread of my favorite tools for this whole year. All right, so that special time's coming up, and if you got some friends you want to get some presents for, or maybe you can drop a hint to the wife or the girlfriend and get yourself something kind of cool, we thought we would run through. These are all the tools that I've used the most through the year and that I really like. All right, well, let's just get started really quick. Gonna start with a wrench set. So this is just a big wrench set over here, but the thing about them is that they're really long. This particular set goes from like 10 millimeters all the way up to 26 millimeters, but that added length on these things is actually really helpful. So they're not very expensive, and I end up using these quite a bit, actually. Second, kind of going along with the tools here, are these crow's feet? Crow's feet?
No S on the end.
Crow's feet. Got a couple of kinds here. We've got the sort of standard ones here. Right. And then these are the flare nut crow's feet.
So they have a
little extra bit on them. So you can use them on like brake lines, anything where the nut itself is actually kind of soft, but you need to put a reasonable amount of force on it. These things are great for that. I had no idea how much I would use these, and they're really inexpensive. They're pretty cheap. So at any rate, a good set of crow's feet, really awesome. Okay, so this is some of my favorites over here. This little guy, this little BB guy here, has a little rotating head on it. I love this thing. It is so useful. You can get into the teeniest little spaces with it. It's a 1/4 inch drive, but you can use it just like a regular ratchet and then turn it over and use it more like a nut driver. It's super flexible. You can put an adapter on it and maybe put it on like a spark plug. So you've loosened up the spark plug, but it's too tight to get the wrench. And it's really awesome and highly recommended. Not expensive at all. These things are pretty cheap. Yep. Okay, so moving on. These guys are awesome. So I have 2 of them, but let me show you what they are. This is just kind of a standard 1/2 inch drive ratchet. Really kind of nice, right? Really good for getting wheel bolts off. But here's the cool thing. Check this out. They're extendable.
Nice.
Isn't that sweet? So then they get super big. So they'll go out all the way out to this length, and that's about the size of a standard breakover bar. You can get a ton of torque on this thing, and it's a nice ratchet. So it's a neat mixture of the two. This one's the same way. So this one's kind of cool. It has a 3/8 on one side and 1/4 on the other. So that makes it really useful as well. But it gets pretty long too. So you can put a decent amount of torque on one of these things, but then if you're in a tight area, you can break something loose and then push it in and continue with what you're doing. I really like these. And Chris Fix uses these sorts of things on his channel as well.
Yeah.
So he's the man, right? He's the man. And so if Chris Fix likes it, it must be super awesome.
Good. Yeah, right.
Okay, moving on. This guy here. Now it doesn't look like much. It just looks like kind of this simple little contraption, right? It doesn't look like much at all. This thing is super duper useful. What it is a torque wrench adapter. So you put it on your wrench like this and clamp it down. Now the new one's even better. So this one's kind of an older version of it, but the new one has 1 screw on it, right?
I can't remember. The photograph's slightly different, so don't freak out if you see that.
Right.
The new one's better.
So there you go. You got this thing mounted on your wrench here, and this is for when you need to torque something down, but you can't get a socket on it, and you can't get a real torque wrench on it. This just allows you to get the torque wrench out of the way. All right, so we talked about this torque wrench. I have 2 flavors of it. This one goes up to 80 pound-feet, and this one goes up to 150.
I think 150, yeah.
So this one is a 1/2 inch torque wrench, so just like this one, but it's a 1/2 inch, which is really big. So if you need to do serious torquing like wheel bolts and stuff, 90, 100 pound-feet, you want this bad boy here. But this one is really nice for smaller. And the reason this one is so nice is that at low torques, you get a serious click out of this thing, which I've had other torque wrenches that down low, they just don't get enough click.
Yeah.
So you never know if you're really there.
Do you want to explain what this is all about?
Yeah.
It's kind of funny.
It's kind of fun. All right, this is nothing more than an infrared thermometer that you can kind of point at something and get the actual temperature on it. It's actually really cool. Used it on, remember the spider? I went around checking the head temperature on each one of the heads in the spider, and it could tell me that, oh, I have one cylinder that's way off. So these things are really handy. You can use them for temperatures on your tires to make sure your inflation is just right. If the center of your tire is much hotter than the rest, then it's overinflated, that sort of thing. Just anything. They're really, really good for that. So catalytic converters. We had a problem with the Ferrari. So it was great to be able to get the exact temperature of the cats on the car. Super, super awesome. Oh, so the battery.
Right.
So the reason the battery is just sitting here on the handle is because this thing has a bad parasitic drain and it will just kill the battery. So I just take it out and I just took it on to the strap there.
It would be kind of an interesting present if you wrapped it up like that.
Yeah, it would be kind of cool.
People would be like, what?
So the Tack, I guess, just an infrared thermometer. Super duper useful, not very expensive. So this bad boy here is an LED flashlight, but check this out. It's not subtle. So it's super duper bright and it flashes red. So if you've got it in your car and something bad happens, you can always put it by the side of the road, which is kind of cool.
Right.
And check this out.
Yeah, that's what I was going to... It's very serious.
Super serial magnet on the bottom of this thing, you know?
Right.
Pink. So it's great. You can stick it underneath the car, find a place underneath there, turn it on, and boom, you got light.
It is actually perfect for people that don't have lights on the bottom of their lifts. That's pretty nice. They could actually hang it from the lift.
Yep. It just takes 3 AA batteries, so you can put rechargeables in it or whatever. So super cool light, not super expensive. These are, head layups, go over your head like that. Check out how bright this guy is. Yeah, that's pretty solid, huh? And you've got the center one.
You're blinding him right now.
I know. And then you've got the 2 on the outside, and then you can get all 3, and then it'll flash. So this thing is great. You can pop it on your head, and the cool thing is that it's hands-free and light always everywhere you need it.
Yeah, this one's got the rechargeable battery, so Franny just leaves it plugged in on her workbench, and that way it's always charged and ready to go.
And the back of it turns red when it's on. So if you're like riding your bike or something, this would be great light for that as well, since it's rechargeable.
I think I've seen that.
Yeah, you got a little red light on the back. Isn't that cool? So whenever it's going and then it flashes like that, that's pretty cool. So super good light, not super expensive. Totally worth it though. I use this thing a ton. These guys here, so above Heidi's head here.
These
is a set of shop light. Now this bad boy is 10,000 lumens. So check this out. I mean, it's not subtle either. Look at that. So that's a ton of light. So those things work great. Because probably can't see us anymore.
Yeah, and it's not, you don't have to worry about like catching something on fire or whatever. They're cool because they're LEDs.
Right. They don't get very hot at all. So we had a set of, the standard halogen lights. And I use them as space heaters. Right.
The other thing is this part here is removable. So these are like little stands. So you could just have, if you just wanted to put it up like on the table. I'm not going to remove it right now, but that's how that works.
Yeah, so it's removable. You can take it off the tripod.
It's portable. I mean, if you want to take it somewhere,
it's got the handle on the top
really
there.
Easy to take with you.
Yeah. Super cool light.
Right.
Okay, so that's pretty much it for the lighting. Next, I want to talk about a little bit of diagnostic equipment that I really, really like. So this is nothing more than a pressure gauge, but it's a really cool pressure gauge. This guy is a low pressure gauge, so perfect for carburetors. You can use it for fuel pressure, and even cooler, it actually does vacuum as well. So you probably remember all the videos of the fuel pump issues on the Volkswagen Beetles. Remember all that? So the problem is that if the pressure is too high, it blows past the needle and seat, then the thing floods out and it's a big old mess. So this will allow you to set your pressure regulator just right for whatever carburetor you've got. So really that's kind of cool. But also remember the problems we had with the 3.2 Carrera with the idle?
Oh yeah.
So you can hook this up to your vacuum system on your car as well and see it pull a vacuum, and you can verify that you don't have any vacuum leaks on your car if your idle's kind of wonky and stuff. So that's pretty cool. So this is not very expensive at all.
No, I think it's under $20. I mean, honestly, it's like $16 or something. Yeah. And so if you want to get the car guy something, but you don't want to spend more than $20.
Huge amount of money.
Yeah. Perfect gift.
It's been very popular. It comes with like hoses and little adapters and stuff too. So I've used that guy a lot.
Works well, and it is very popular. Franny is right. I can take
so that's pretty cool. So this is a solar battery tester is really what it is. But it's really cool. It's not just kind of a voltage checker, although it does that for you. But what it does is it gives you the cranking amps of the battery. So that's kind of neat and a little bit tricky. So what it does is it sends an AC pulse through your battery and checks the AC resistance across it, and through a bit of clever math, it manages to come up with the capacity of your battery. And you're like, well, why do you need that? Well, we came out to the Mini and it was like, roar, 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 just could barely start. I'd go ahead and throw it on the tender or the charger and just really wasn't much better.
Yeah, it's a 7-year-old car, so it was just right at that
Yeah,
time.
so the battery was old. Throw this guy on there, the battery should be, let's say the battery should be 800 cranking amps. It was showing like 650 or 600 or something. So yeah, so it's lost a bit. So that's why this thing is amazing.
The turbo wouldn't even start, and I don't think it even registered on there.
Oh, it registered like 400 or something.
Yeah,
it said it was.
It does give you error codes, so.
Yep, it does. So it's got 3 little LED lights on here about OK, charge, and fail, which is kind of nice. Gives you an actual readout, which is pretty sweet. And this is the base cheapy one, the BA5. They make a BA7 and I think a BA9, and the bigger brothers to this can actually check your entire charging system as well when it's hooked up. So.
Yeah, let's talk about this ancient piece of equipment that Franny uses all the time.
Yes. So this is a Dwell Tack meter. It's kind of old, long in the tooth, and it's an analog meter. Works really well. You can use it to measure your dwell angle. Cool thing about the Tack is on the 356s we have a Tack on the dash, so I can always look over the back and take a look at that. But you don't on a Beetle.
Right.
And if you need to check the advancement on the distributor, for instance, at 2,500 RPM, how do you know you're at 25 or 3,200 or whatever it's supposed to be? Use one of these guys and it will tell you the actual RPM of the engine.
But tell them why this one is not as good as the newer one.
Well, here's the deal. So you can't get this one anymore, which kind of is a bummer. But the same company, Actron, has a new one. And
it's going to be right there.
It's going to be right up here, so you can check that out. Now, it's a digital version of this. But because it's a digital version, they packed more stuff into it.
Yeah, they got...
It's actually like a multimeter.
Right. I mean, we were going to talk about this, which is another great gift, but... The newer one has this built into it, right? I don't know if it's extensive enough, but
yeah, it's pretty sweet. It had a you can check transistors with it. It had a thermal connection on it, so you can use it as a thermal probe. It does dwell angles. It does tack, and it does volts. So check that out. It's pretty sweet. I'm gonna get this. That's on my Christmas list.
Yeah, it's definitely. Franny was like, I think I want that.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. So if you're not going to get something like that, just a regular volt-ohm-meter is really handy for lots of things, checking things. I had to use it as a continuity meter to check the spark plug wires and the ends on the Speedster. So you probably saw that video. That's just the silly little thing I used for that. So, and in the same light, real quick like a bunny, a timing light, but this one is cool because you know why it's cool? This one is adjustable, has a little wheel on the back, and you can change the advance on it. So you're like, well, why would you want to do that? Well, okay, real quick, if you're going to time an engine, you want to know where top dead center is, great, and then you need to know that the distributor is going to advance up to say 32 degrees or something. So then you would make another mark 32 degrees forward on the pulley down there. Well, that's kind of a pain. And what's the angle, and you got to put a mark, is a big pain. What you can do with this is you can actually crank the thing up, right? And then rotate your dial to 32, and you can use the top dead center mark on the pulley. So that's pretty cool. That's what I really like about this. And it's a good timing light. It's plenty bright, seemed to work fine. Clip it on the #1 spark plug wire, and super sweet. So it worked really well. This is a cylinder leak down test is what this guy is. So this was super, super important on the Spider. So when I did the Spider, worked on the Spider video, the engine was acting goofy on that thing, and the right side just seemed like a mess. And sure enough, I went ahead and did a leak down test and found that the right side, both cylinders, were leaking down quite a bit. So we had to take the heads off, and that was that whole fuss. But We bought another leak down test, and it was crap. It didn't work at all. It supposedly is going to tell you the actual percentage and everything. It looked pretty sweet, but it broke.
We sent it back.
We had to send it back. The meter broke on it.
You had already filmed some video, right?
I did. I totally filmed a bunch of video, and I was like, I know this. I could hear the thing hissing, so I knew it was bad.
Yeah.
But I couldn't get it to read properly. It was a mess.
We don't like to put out videos of stuff that ends up being junk.
Yeah. So I wanted to.
Unfortunately, that happens
Try
sometimes.
to save you from all that.
Right. Exactly.
This one worked great. It's got the cables that you need. It's got the plugs that you need. Everything's cool on this thing.
And last but not least is all of our detailing products from Adam's Polishes. Now, I want to say that Adam has a facility here in Colorado. It's not too far away. So we have met Adam. He's a friend of ours, but this is not a paid endorsement. In fact, any of these tools that we have out here is not a paid endorsement from any of these manufacturers.
Every one of these products we bought, we had to go out and buy.
Right.
Nobody sponsors us. We're not big enough for that. So anyway, so that aside, interior detailer. So this is something I've used that's kind of new from Adam's. I've always used his general purpose cleaner, but this has UV protection, and it works more like just like you detail the outside of your car, you can use this to detail the inside of your car. So it leaves everything with a nice dull sheen on everything. It's just great. Really love this stuff, and it cleans really well too. Speaking of cleaning, this is the tire and rubber cleaner of Adam's. Now, I hadn't used this till recently, actually. It's just been sitting up there. It's one of those things. I just had it but never used it. And it's amazing on tires. It's great. It just cleans them up really, really easily. You can do it while you're cleaning the tires, when you're washing the car, or just do it like in your garage or whatever and spray it down. Little microfiber towel action, and super sweet.
And it's not like that fake looking, well, not fake.
Right. So you don't get that silicone shiny stuff all over it.
It's not like that
It dries
at all.
very matte and just looks super duper clean.
Right.
So really nice product. I really like this, actually.
This one is my favorite.
Yeah, so what is that, Heidi?
Especially in the wintertime, something like the waterless wash is really great. I had to go out the other day. The car was a complete disaster because we had a snowstorm, and I was able to get the car picked up pretty quickly just on the exterior within about 10 minutes by just using, we actually have some of it in a sprayer like this, and I was able to just kind of spray one whole side and wipe it up, and it's really a great product, especially if it's too cold to go to a car wash.
Right, because you don't ever want to touch a car when it's dry, but wet with the right towels and the right sort of liquid.
Smells good too.
Yeah, it does smell pretty good.
Tell us why that's so cool.
Oh, yeah. So this is H2O Garden Gloss. Garden Gloss. Guard and Gloss.
It sounds like garden gloss, though.
It's
for your garden.
It's a water-activated sealer is really what it is. So when your car's totally wet and you're going to, your next step is to dry it. It's all clean, ready to go. You just need to dry it. You spritz a bit of this on, and it gives it a crazy shine. It works really well. You don't want to use it too often, maybe every third or fourth time, because it kind of gets a little bit built up after a while. But boy, does it give you a nice protection. Beads like crazy when it's dry. It's a sealant, so it's really cool, but it's a water-activated sealant. So super convenient. You had to dry the car anyways. So this works really well.
You want to talk about this last?
I do. So Heidi mentioned the sprayers here.
Right.
So this is just a sort of standard solo sprayer. I love these things. You pump them up like that and then hit the button on them, and they just, and they go, none of this pumpy bit that you have to usually do with these things. It's really great.
Right.
Now, we don't just use only Adam's products.
Right.
I use other products as well. One of them is Wizard's Metal Renew. Use it on the Speedster, and in the detailing videos, you'll see me use this a bunch. This stuff is awesome. Great for tailpipes and chrome, and works great on aluminum, any metal really.
This is another good stocking stuffer.
Yeah.
So not very
if you hook somebody up with this, they will
and-
love you forever. This stuff is awesome.
Right.
I don't know why it's so amazing, but it is the best metal polish I've ever seen. So if you need to polish any metal, maybe other things that are metal you want to polish, this is the thing to use. Yep. So check this bad boy out.
This is the bomb.
This is Adam's mini swirl killer. It's a little 4-inch orbital buffer. And you can put a little small teeny weeny little pad on it. So not a big pad at all, just a little 4-inch pad. The thing about this is it's not very expensive. It's got a nice When you turn it on, it's got a nice slow start on it. It kind of cranks up slowly, which is kind of nice so it doesn't just fling crap everywhere. And it has a speed adjustment on the back. So you can actually get this thing pretty slow, or you can get it really, really booking. But here's the deal. Just did the Mini, and there was only 2 places on the whole car I could use my big 5.5-inch buffer, and that was the doors.
Right.
Everywhere else has so many curves and so many little cavities and this and that. You really need a small buffer. So it's surprising, you end up using this more than anything else. It's less noisy than the big one. It's easier to manage. It's not as heavy.
Probably not as heavy.
And it has a super duper long cord. So this was really handy too. I have a really nice flex buffer, big one, but it comes with a pretty short cord. And then you got the extension cord, and everything's getting all tangled up all the time. So this is pretty sweet. It's actually a really nice little buffer, and it's not very expensive. So Heidi was mentioning the actual polishes here.
Right.
Now you'll notice the colors. So Adam color coats his pads to his buffing compounds.
Right.
So the orange is sort of a medium cut here, correcting polish, and the white is more of a final finishing polish. Mm-hmm. So the white pad is a lot softer and more fine than the orange. The orange is a bit more coarse. So that's kind of neat. It's really easy to get these things lined up with color. So nice
He does
system,
that with everything.
actually.
He'll do that with all of these sprays and polishes as well. He'll have pads and stuff.
Right, and his towels and things are those colors as well. So really easy, super.
Right.
When you go in, you're like, what towel do I use with what product? It's super easy. It's all color coded. Okay, well that's our favorite tools for the year. Love to hear if you have some favorite tools that you really like. Can you go ahead and leave them in the description down below? That would be super awesome.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. And we forgot about merch.
Oh, right. Yes.
So tell us about those, Heidi. Tell us.
So this is special custom merchandise. We have to put in an order as a group order, and so we're going to be doing an order at the end of the month of November so that the product can be to people by Christmas time. So we're just doing one order, and so if you are interested in fleeces, we have short and long sleeve polo shirts. We have coats.
Oh, we have coats too. Yeah,
right.
Nice coats.
And of course, we have the standard sweatshirts and t-shirts that are on the regular website. But this is a special custom part on our website that you'll be able to find.
Right. So you want to get in on that. They're super awesome. And if you got somebody special, you'd be our team is going to get really, really big. And you can say, well, I knew them when they were a little small, and then I got some merch from them. It was awesome.
It's the perfect gift for the lady friend that you don't know what to get her.
Right.
It's Heidi and Franny approved.
Right,
we have tested and tried out a lot of different products. The coats are actually very nice. They aren't too heavy. They're kind of a nice windbreaker, but they're heavier than a windbreaker.
Right. They were great. And then even over something like this, and you're toasty warm. So great for those early coffee in cars mornings.
Right,
Yep,
exactly.
Yep. So, all right. Well, thank you so much for watching. A special thank you to our Patreon supporters.
Yes, thank you very much, Patreons. Yep.
All right. So until next time.
And happy holidays.
Oh, and happy holidays, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving and happy holidays for everyone.
In general. Yep.
All right. Well, until next time, safe travels.
Bye.